Hey guys!
Hello!
So it's been a while since Wrkshp video because we went out of town and visited with John S. and all that.
Cooked a lot of good food.
So it has been a while because we had lots of footage to share with you guys. But now we're back and we're in the workshop and we have been for weeks now working on things, and we thought it was time for an update before we get too far ahead.
Of epic proportions.
Yeah. So we'll have a bunch of cardiac simulator stuff here in a bit, but for right now I just kind of wanted to go over some of the things that we got in, have been working on, I guess would be the better way of saying it. The only way you get these things delivered is if you design them, which we did. Since we got back, we've been working hard.
Non-stop, every day.
So when we left off, it was sort of a cliffhanger because this board here had exploded and died, and we had no idea why. So we've got the TTL8 module here, and these are actually for sale up in our Tindy store now. So you can actually get these debug modules, but you can use them for debug, or you can use them for actually controlling stuff, as we've shown before. You can't buy this one yet, but there'd been some sort of issue with that keyboard.
Oh.
And its power supply blew up and it took out my test board along with it. And I ended up having to take off the propeller chip and replacing it with a fresh one.
And then now it works.
Yes. So we're back on track with this. I'm not quite ready with the firmware, but as soon as we are, we'll send it out to testers, and then we'll go from there, because it's a complicated one. I don't want to put it up as a product until I know for sure that it's good. So that's where that one is sitting. The V1s on the TTL8s are in. Nice V1s. So you can get it with the LEDs, or you can get it just without, depending on what you're wanting to do. And those are up in the shop, and we'll be assembling those. And here's the NPN version, which is not in the shop yet, but this is the V1. So we're just going to do a quick cursory test and assemble a few of these, and then these will be up in the store too. And these are handy because you can drive much bigger loads and stuff with these, and do cool stuff like hacking matrix stuff with them. Oh yeah. Over on this side of things, I don't know, did we show the button board previously? I think we showed it as it was being designed on the computer, actually.
Maybe that.
So Hattie got back this, which was her original board. We tried to install it, and it hit in a couple of places. So you can kind of see it's too wide, and a few of the holes aren't quite right, and it hit here. So I took that thing and brought it downstairs and actually cut it up with a bandsaw. So there and here, cut it out on the bandsaw, soldered on a chip, and it turned out that pin 9 and pin 10 were supposed to be, one was NC and the other one was connected, and on this earlier version of the board it's not correct. So we had to fix that. So he sent out, waited for the new updated version to show up, and it did. And there it is. It's a pristine one with nothing on it. And then, you know, it's just got the shift register and the pull downs and a couple of pull down resistors on the data lines and a header. And then Addie's excellent work on all the tracing and all the spot for the buttons and stuff. And that gets installed in here. And those buttons, you know, they sit under there. And one of the difficult parts of this was actually finding screws to replace, you know, the old tri-wing stuff that they used. And we've been doing some testing with various lengths and sizes, and we've settled on these from McMaster-Carr. So we have a bunch of those in stock and ready to go. So that's a good update. Here's some more development work on here. We needed the audio output board, which goes here, and I took one of Addie's cardiac simulator test boards that was no good, and it has the headphone jack on it. So I cut out the shape out of that PCB. It just so happened that one mounting hole was already in the right spot relative to the jack, and put an SMT jack on there and put it in place and checked it against how deep it needs to be, and then drew up an actual board, and those showed up today. So here's the real one. There's the pads and whatnot for the SMT jack. There's the mounting holes that should line up there. Yeah, but it goes that way. And there's a little header spot there for hooking up the wires that go to it. So we just need to SMT solder on a jack and then install this in here and make sure the clearances are good and make sure that the jack comes out far enough so that you can plug in an 1/8" cable to it without the case interfering. And that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, so we have the before and after set up here. That's what we had previously. That's what we have now. So I'm going to take some of our short screws, 2 of those, and we're going to set this jack up in place. I'm not putting any wires on it today because we're not really testing it for if a jack works or not. We're testing it for fit. Cool. That. Let's see if we clear the front okay.
Yeah, perfect.
Very close. The looks like it's offset a tiny bit to one side, but I'll have to double check my soldering to see if I put it a little bit off center or not. But yeah. Okay, so audio board is in. Alright, let's go check out the cardiac sim.
Alright, so you guys know my heart board because you've seen it a few times here. And from there I wanted to extend its functionality to adding simulation of auscultation and palpation. And so that's how I came up with this board with all these lovely attachments and 3D sculpting, troubleshooting components. And that became into this 4D sculpture. Essentially, we're just changing dimensionals. And then a break in development happened when Whisker stepped in to help out. And so through his brain power and our design abilities, this is the bottom half of our new cardiac simulator board. And as you can see, there's still a little tiny bit of extra changes that need to be made. I messed up the power, and so there's Whisker's red wire fix. I accidentally got these, what are these? The header pins flipped, so they're like mirrored. incorrectly, and so I had to change a few things with that. So it brings you to our current iteration. And software is currently being...
You have to show them the board. It's now fixed. No red wires or...
Right.
All the pins and stuff are the right way around now.
Yep. So everything's hunky-dory on the board there now. And so we were able to start on some software. And as you can hear, it's clicking. And if you actually put your finger on there, it's actually hitting the finger. And then here's the board with just running some test code. And I think I did the first normal sinus rhythm. There's still a few changes that need to be made. Oh, normal sinus rhythm, yeah! So there are a few changes that need to be made that I realized once I did this code. Let's see here.
Breadboard wire connection.
Yep. But essentially the tests so far are good. And it's just now my developing or working on some DAT tables for the propeller to make all the lovely rhythms.
I built a pattern generating engine that can do anything message-wise or lights on or off, random, timing, all definable. And now Addie is working on the tables that the patterns play from.
Yep. So more work on that. And hopefully soon we will have... Oh, what's that doing?
This is a test for...
Oh, I see.
Going
For
to
each of the
lights.
LEDs.
Yep.
I see. Random LEDs.
And that's the front screen. It's showing that it does random. So different lights will light up each time. And then the first rhythm is the only one that she's put in yet.
Yep. Alright. Woo woo! Alright, so many of you guys know about the LM386 through-hole amplifier board that we sell.
Tons of people bought these things.
Yep, on Tindy. And that's cool, that's fine. But it's a little bigger than, well,
This one
than
doesn't
small.
even have the volume potentiometer installed at the moment.
That's true. Yeah.
So it's even bigger than this.
Yep. So we decided to make an SMT version of it because we've been going SMT crazy. And so it's this little tiny little thing. And it still has a potentiometer, and instead of using a 1/4 inch jack, we use an 1/8 inch jack here. And it's chibi. It's tiny.
The board's about the size of the pot.
Yeah. It's smaller than the battery, so you actually could probably, whatever case could fit the battery could probably fit that.
Alright, we
in
just
there.
soldered it up though and we gotta test it.
Yes.
So I'm running line out of my modified Game Boy over
Yep.
here.
Yep. Game Boy.
Okay, that's not a headphone out, that's a line out. And the line out is going into the input of the LM36 board there. So,
Test.
backlight.
Super bright.
Alright, I'm running LSDJ, as you can see there. Sequencer program. And I've got a song from my upcoming album that I've loaded up in here just so we can test the amp. The magnet's even shattered on the back of this, so it's kind of a really super crappy speaker. Not bad though.
And it works. Yay! Now to do some tweaking to the board to make sure all the silk screens come out right, and then...
And the jack was a little too close to the potentiometer, so you should probably move that out. I had to clip off a corner of the potentiometer board right there.
Yep, just a tiny bit. So, some changes, and then it should be available in Tindy.
We post videos all the time, so don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Twitter at TYMKRS.